Good morning and welcome into episode 45 WCATChats. I'm Paul Maru, joined alongside Nitin Raju to my left, Kate Malcome to my right, and on Zoom in a few minutes, Westminster alum, state champion, and superstar alum, Zay Malcome will be joining us. Obviously helped win a state championship on the football gridiron and then went off, played collegiately, now coaching at the college level. So we'll get to talk to him about all of those tremendous things. So can't wait for that. And let's just hop right into that. And we are joined now with Zay Malcome, Westminster alum, state champion, collegiate captain, and also now coaching at Columbia. Zay, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Doing
We're
good.
good. We're good. So Zay, how did you start getting into football? What age were you when you started playing?
I was 4 actually. And if I don't know if anybody knows, I never really kind of projected it out to anyone, but I actually have a brother and a sister too. Both older. And my brother actually, growing up, I seen him play football. He ended up not really liking it. He ended up going towards basketball, but around the time when he started, that's kind of, when I got into it, or I at least started playing around with my dad. So my dad put me in it really early at 4. I was playing with the 6-year-olds, but I always had fun. So I ended up playing DN for the team, but it was kind of cool.
That is cool. Okay, so obviously you're good friends with my cousin Peter. Have y'all been keeping up recently?
Yeah, he reached out to me a couple weeks ago. He was just checking on me, make sure everything's okay. I did when I came back home. What was that, Christmas break, like around New Year's? We did hoop a couple times, and we did, catch up a little bit. But hopefully, when I come back, we'll get lunch and we'll sit down so I can make sure he's doing okay too.
Good.
That's awesome. So talk to us a little bit about your time at Westminster, inside the classroom, outside. If you had to kind of sum it up in a couple of sentences, how would you say your time was at Westminster?
I would say it was eye-opening for me. So I actually didn't even really know about Westminster until about 6th grade. I had a friend named Ramel. He was going here. But throughout elementary school in DeKalb County, it's called Windberg Elementary. It was kind of like a charter school. There was this program called A Better Chance. And my parents found out about it, and the teacher told my parents about it. So I ended up applying. I got waitlisted everywhere else, but Westminster was the one school that let me in and said I can come in the next year. So, and being able to come in and kind of assimilate with everybody here definitely was eye-opening for me because it was just a different environment. And I think people should be exposed to different environments like that.
Mm-hmm. And then, obviously Westminster, very academically rigorous. And then you lettered in 4 sports throughout high school. How are you able to balance all that, still do well academically as well as, perform on the field, the track, on the hardwood, do all of that?
Oh, yeah, of course. Well, first and foremost, obviously, I give thanks to God for all the abilities that he did give me to be able to kind of, manage all those things. It was difficult at first, trying to play 4 sports and, do school because obviously you kind of have to give some things up. You can't really train as hard for some sports because you're trying to, you're kind of spread thin in a way. But overall, it was kind of like my friends and the teachers and the relationships that I built at Westminster that kind of helped keep me grounded and help me, stay focused and be around those people. So it made it really fun for me to do all those things.
Any advice for how to balance being a student athlete?
It's really just about managing your time, really. The easier you can, or the better you can get, managing your schedule, being able to kind of block spaces out for certain things, I think that'll help you along the way and it'll help you down the line because even at my age right now, being a coach, obviously I still have other endeavors. I still have other things that I would want to do, other things that, I'm interested in. So you kind of, outside of my regular job, you have to make time for those things. And I think, starting that early in high school will help. So blocking out time to make sure you get your homework done, blocking out time to make sure if you do have extra time or going to train or going to see your teachers for office hours, making sure you set that time out so you're efficient with it. So you know how much time you have to play with, whether that's for social or, whatever you whatever you enjoy.
I mean, let's go back to the year y'all win the state championship on the road every week in the playoffs and eventually end up in the Georgia Dome down in the 4th quarter against Blessed Trinity. Kind of talk to me about how that whole season went. Obviously, the playoffs were obviously quite grueling, traveling all over the state of Georgia to eventually end up in at Westminster's backyard at the Dome and to get that win.
Um, at first it was definitely I thought it was gonna go really well, honestly, just because we got we beat Lubbock the first game, I think. Um, but then, I think we dropped a couple, and then we kind of were going back and forth, and then we ended up playing Blessed Trinity in the middle of the season. And that was kind of eye-opening game for all of us, kind of reality check, even for me. That was the first time Coach Romberg actually kind of checked me in the film room again, in front of the whole team, just because obviously he's seen me as a leader and I wasn't giving that effort a leader should be giving. So, ever since that point, we kind of understood that we had to win every game, and everybody collectively came together to do that. And, being able to build each week, but also make sure you stay in the present and don't look toward the future, it's very hard. And, that team that we had, those two grades that we had really at Westminster, when in my junior year and in their senior year, I think was very special. We did a lot of great things there.
Well-
Being a leader as a junior on that team, talk to us like how about that relationship between you and your seniors.
Honestly, it was seamless, I think. And I think, everybody in that class, they understood their role. But in like I say organization, but in our team, you know, it was like the team was kind of flat. Like everybody was kind of seen on the same level. Obviously, there are some players who are better than others, and that's just because God gifted people with other abilities. But I think everybody kind of understood their role in the team and they accepted that. And you can also be a leader in your role, which everybody kind of realized. So even during that year, my favorite thing about the team was the scout team, and I believe that wholeheartedly, that how good your scout team is how good your team will be. And shout out to David Edmiston and the Red Storm. But they came out every day and they practiced very hard. And I think those type of things that help. Those are the little things that help a team win and help a team grow to the fullest potential.
What's your favorite team memory from your junior season? Was there someone behind the scenes that y'all did together that you really liked?
So we had a lot of like our seniors. I know they hosted like a decent amount of events, but my class, like we always were kind of chill about everything. Like we really would just go to people's houses and kind of just hang out. And then, over time, we kind of would just talk during practice. People would kind of see what everybody was doing. And once everybody realized we were doing the same thing, then we kind of just opened it up to everybody else. So it ended up kind of just growing and growing to where, you know, sometimes maybe we may be at different houses, but, 20, 25 people are at one house watching the game. People go out, go bowl. So I thought it was kind of cool. Even though you have different interests and you connect with different groups, everybody was still open about what they were doing, and everybody, wanted to come together, which is an awesome feeling. It's rare to see.
And then you mentioned Coach Romberg. Do you have a favorite Coach Romberg story you could tell us? I know he has so many great stories, and I'm sure you have plenty of memories from him.
Yeah, for sure. My favorite one is from I think it's either my freshman or sophomore year. But he actually was my freshman year. We went to Vero Beach, Florida. I wish they still did that with the team because I think that was a great team building experience for us. But as a freshman going out and being out there with all the older guys, I didn't really know how Coach Romberg seen me. I didn't know really the light that he see me in. I kind of was just out there playing. And during one drill, I kind of was loafing a little bit. So I'm glad he did see that. But once again, there was one of those moments where he kind of addressed me in front of the whole group. And I feel like it's different when you address somebody in front of, 1v1 and when you address somebody in front of everybody else. Because I think when you get addressed in front of everybody else, that means he believes that the other people see what he sees in you. And I think that's, trying to shine that light on people and being able to do that. Some people need that wake up call so they understand, that they're not only shortchanging themselves, but they're shortchanging everybody else around them. So understand your ability, understand your aura, understand the pool that you have, and, use it for good. So ever since that point, I kind of, try to trend towards the right direction.
Yeah, and then professional athletes, you see a lot of the time on social media, they go over and they can say, "Hey, I can see this play and I know exactly what's going to happen." Talk to us from the state championship game. How much of it do you remember, and are some key plays that really stuck out to you from that night?
Um, so it definitely is a little bit of a blur, but I think I remember most of the second half. I think we went down 9-24, I think. Um, and then I think I'm not sure if we scored and then they scored, but either way, we were down by 2 touchdowns. But actually, when I was in Little League, when with one of my teams, we actually multiple times in one season we went down by 2 touchdowns. So it actually didn't really phase me that much. I just knew the type of focus we needed to lock in and, be able to accomplish that goal. So during the year, Coach Romberg actually wouldn't let me, he didn't want me to play defense because obviously I was an offensive player. Um, but when we needed it, I would go in and play defense. So in the second half, he subbed me in. So I ended up playing both ways the entire second half. And um, I remember we went down, they scored, we scored, we went down 14 again, 17-31, I think. Um, I get like a kick return. They horse collar me, no penalty. But Coach Rand ended up getting kind of creative with the playbook. A couple of plays, he put me on the slot. We ran a screen. I end up getting a decent little gain. I get the ball again. I get another gain. So I get the momentum going for the team. We end up scoring on that drive. Obviously, we go for the onside kick. Shout out Watson Jackson. Um, I still there's a photo. I need to find it. I still don't even know how he recovered the ball because there's 4 Blessed Trinity players around the ball and he's not even there. Um, but once he recovered that, I knew that's like this has to be the drive. And just so happened that they gave me the ball the next play and I ended up scoring, tie the game, and the rest is history. So, um, I think that game definitely it still means a lot in my heart just because of when I came in seventh grade, just the goals that I had for myself, and then the goals that I had for the school, the fact that I actually accomplished every single one. Um, I'm really a blessed human being to do that at such a young age. So, I'm very thankful. I give God all the praise, and I'm grateful that I got to share that moment with everybody else, and I'm grateful that I get to talk about it still to this day, and it's probably 6, 7 years later.
What was your relationship like with your quarterback, Rankin Woolley? Y'all were both playing defense and offense. What was your relationship like?
Yeah, it was a funny relationship. I love Rankin. I never I thought he was gifted in football and baseball. So I just never was sure what he would end up turning towards. Obviously, he ended up going the baseball route, but um, we kind of had like an unspoken thing going on when we were in whenever we played together. Like it was kind of like if he felt like he needed to get the first down, he thought he was better for it. I had the trust in him to where I was like, all right, bro, go ahead and take it. Like, that's fine. Like, I'm assuming, this is between us. And I believe that if they have us on the field together, Coach Rand trusts both of us. So if we make that decision, we'll just go ahead and live with it and we'll move on. And he would do the same for me. So even in the first game against Lubbock, I started out very hot first quarter. Um, we keep the lead we start out hot early, we keep the lead throughout the whole game. But when we get to the end of the game, Rankin told me he was I gotta ice the game. Like in just all pure facts, he's a bigger guy. In some cases, in a running back way, he's a bigger back. So, him taking the reins on that and just running the ball to make sure we get first downs, like I'm fine with that. And that happened throughout the entire season. Like even in the state championship, there was one play where I had seen they had I forget the receiver ran like a corner route, but he ended up getting to it. Like he batted the ball down, but it was too close. And I kind of, I looked at him, he looked at me, and we kind of just nodded and we was like, all right, we're good. We'll make sure that, we get the stop we need to make sure we win this state championship. So I thought, you know, having an unspoken connection like that is rare between people. So I think those are things you have to appreciate with everybody.
And then you win that state championship. You come back to campus. I'm sure, what was that reception like? Not only from the teachers, the students, but also alumni, right? Westminster had a 1-1 since the 70s. Just talk to me about kind of that reception from everyone and everyone just really just cheering y'all on.
It's amazing. I remember like it was yesterday. We party in the locker room. that's the first time I seen Coach Romberg ever do anything that's like smile or whatever, like be as happy as he was. Like we even got him dancing in the locker room. He never does that. If y'all get him to dance, y'all are golden. But we end up getting on the bus. Obviously, as a team, we have our fun on the bus. We do, have the trophy and everything. Um, and then when we walk out, the fact that there's like a whole row of people and everybody's standing and like handshaking us. And we walk in and there's people, the gym is flooded and they're taking down the banner. Coach Romberg's to take down the banner. Um, it's really like a movie in a way. And in the moment, it's hard because it's like sometimes it moves really fast to appreciate it. But remembering all those things and just remembering how happy everybody was and to see the community come together, like once again, those are once in a lifetime things you just don't see. And the fact that we were able to see it, y'all were able to see it at a young age, but I was also able to see it in a way to where I can kind of, you know, take it all in. It was awesome. And, I want Westminster to get back to that point.
So moving past Westminster into your college years, talk to us about how it was playing college football for you personally.
For me, it was definitely very difficult. And I wouldn't say difficult in a way as in athletically, I didn't feel like I fit in. I felt like athletically I was fine. I thought I excelled, more than the average person. Um, but I think once you continue to go up levels, the game actually does become a little bit more mental. It does become a little bit more of your mindset and be it how you carry yourself and how you approach the game. Um, and so early on, I learned my freshman year that the way I approached the game, it was good enough for high school, but it wasn't good enough for college. Um, and I needed to find a way to separate myself, and it was really difficult because I think the transition from high school to college is pretty hard. And the fact that I was a first generational student, kind of being thrown in the fire, it was, I didn't really do too hot for my first 2, 3 months. It took me basically the first semester to kind of get my feet under me. Um, so, and obviously, you know, I think every sport has its politics, and everybody has to fight through it. And I think that's just the struggle, and that's just the way of the life, the way of sports. Um, but I think I started really hitting my stride my sophomore spring, um, which is funny because I actually considered stop playing football after my freshman year and after my sophomore year. Um, and I'm not scared to say it now, but those at that point in my life, like I wasn't really in a great place. I was really trying to figure myself out. I was really trying to figure out my identity. And I think that's one thing that's really important about life. Um, and I think because I shine at football so well at Westminster, and I and even though I feel like I carried myself well and I did things the right way, um, it's the college life still exposed me that I still had some maturing to do. I still had some growing. And I think that's important. Um, and I think by my junior season, I thought I was ready. I was ready to take the reins. I thought I was ready to, become the star I thought I could be. In my first game, even though I didn't start, I went for 150 and 2 touchdowns. So I thought it was going to be, you know, I thought it was going to be an awesome year, but I tear my ACL 3 days later. Um, so, and I think that's once again, that's a life-changing explain. It's a life-changing experience for me because I never been injured in high school. Obviously, like people twist their ankles, people may get bumps and bruises, but a major injury like that has never happened to me. It's still been my only major injury in my life. Which once again, it was definitely a dark time, but I'm definitely thankful for it because once again, I had to find myself again, and find who Zay Malcome is outside of football. But even though I still had that, even though I was still training, being able to find myself and find out what I do like besides playing football and find out, how I can advance myself besides playing football, was important. And I think that's why those things happen. And in my senior season, we went 3-7, but I ended up making all conference. I played really well. Obviously I didn't get, the outcomes of the games didn't happen, but once again, because of my ACL, I was blessed with another year. I went to go play in Michigan. We ended up doing well that year, and we ended up not getting into the playoffs, but still, um, being able to play extra games, being able to earn a scholarship to be able to play the game I love for free I think that's what it's about. And being able to make those connections, make those relationships, because you never know when those are going to be important for you. So I'm very thankful for, even though I didn't get to the goal I wanted to reach, I'm very thankful for how it went, because I wouldn't be here talking to y'all today. So
You faced a lot of adversity throughout your college years, but for being able to bounce back past that, was there any piece of advice a coach or anybody really gave to you that really resonated with you?
um yeah, and I would just say one word, patience. I would say obviously I'm a fast runner. Sometimes when I played in high school, when I hit holes, it would just be pretty fast. I would see it really quick and I would just go. And I would say, it's the opposite of life. Life is, sometimes you're gonna be in the same place for a little bit. And sometimes the progress, it may be really, really slow. But I think, through that, you have to appreciate, that's when you start to appreciate little wins. You start to appreciate little things. And I think that's why short-term goals are important, because short-term goals turn into medium goals, and those medium goals turn to long-term goals. And now the long-term goal becomes the ultimate goal, which has shown me that really life is really a process and it's really about progress. And so really remembering that it really taught me not to really look forward and really just enjoy where I'm at right now. Obviously, you want to make plans for the future, but enjoy where you are right now, because you're in the perfect spot and God is put you right where you need to be for, for that moment in time.
So now you're coaching for Columbia's football team. What made you want to get into that?
Actually, it really chose me, honestly. I'm not, I don't want to, sugarcoat anything. I intentionally, when I was in college, I actually took 2 internships. I worked at Goldman Sachs. So I thought I was really going to be a finance guy out of college, but my love for the game, I stayed around. So I ended up playing an extra year. So, and obviously there were some things going on with that process that I didn't know about. But once again, I still don't regret my decision, for staying in football. I ended up going to Japan to play with the Ivy League. It was like the inaugural game. Now they're going to start doing it every year. I ended up winning MVP there, and then the coaching staff there was from Columbia. And then they were kind of just really impressed about, the way I carried myself, the way that I played, and, the way I just carried myself around the coaches and how everybody was around. So over the course of the summer, I actually was training to actually get an XFL opportunity or NFL opportunity. Went to a couple tryouts, ended up not working out, but right before the season, Columbia ended up calling me, and basically said that they wanted me to come work. And, they believed that I was the guy for the job and it was mine unless I didn't want it. So of course I took it. I actually was going to coach with Coach Romberg
Oh,
at Westminster this season. I was going to coach the running backs, which I was very excited about. But when I got the offer, I asked Coach Romberg about it, and he told me I should take it. And so obviously I took it, and not knowing if this was something I wanted to do. I figured, life is about figuring out what you don't like so you can do what you want to do.
right.
And so since I hadn't done it, I took the plunge, and 6 months later, I'm still here. So obviously I'm enjoying it a little bit. So hopefully this, my trajectory continues, and hopefully I continue to get better, because I definitely think I can have a long, prosperous career in coaching.
And we end every interview with this. If you could give one piece of advice to a younger say Malcome, or just a younger football player in general, what would that piece of advice be?
Don't be scared to put yourself out there. I think people, some people can be reserved, some people can be shy, because obviously, they don't want to seem arrogant. They don't want to seem conceited to other people, because obviously you want a good picture painted on you. You want to be, seen in a good light by the public. But at the end of the day, you also have to understand, if you believe in something and you want something, you have to chase it. And, making sure that you put your all into that and putting yourself out there, you would rather do that and leave with no regrets than saying, I coulda, shoulda, woulda. I'd rather fail and then, find a way and find a solution to where now I succeed rather than not trying at all. So I would just say, continue to try, continue to go, and continue to fail. Um, because at some point, I realized when I got to college my freshman year that, I failed. I failed my first class. Wasn't doing good in football. So you're gonna fail, but God does that because there's something you need to learn and something you need to apply. So once you apply that, you're gonna understand that you're gonna be a better person and you're gonna be able to do things better because of that failure. So just keep going and remember that that failure is also progress. Even if that's taking one step back and moving two steps forward, that's still progress. You still found a way, even no matter how it is. So always try to look at a positive light and always just move forward and always just be, don't be afraid to put yourself out there.
Thank you so much, Zay. I mean, we had a great time here learning about you and learning a little bit about your time at Westminster and past. So thank you so much.
No, I appreciate y'all for having me. I'll definitely come down and visit soon once I come down. So,
Please do.
Looking
Of
forward
course.
to it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zay. Good luck.
of course, thank y'all.
Thank you, Zay. That was a great interview. Got to learn a lot about his time at Westminster and his time past Westminster. And it was really just a great experience. How'd you guys like it?
Yeah, I mean, that was tremendous. I grew up, obviously, in the lower school. I was at the Georgia Dome when he scored those touchdowns to take down BT and to bring Westminster their first state championship in football since the 70s. So it was really just a great time to be around here. And a lot of that is thanks to him and his great efforts.
Yeah, he's good friends with my cousin, so I've grown up watching him play, and it was great talking to him today.